The moment the coffee cup hit the floor, everyone in the diner froze. A hiss of steam rose as the scorching liquid spread across the tiles. And right in the middle of it all, trembling and red-faced, stood the young waitress, Lily, holding her arm where the hot coffee had splashed. 3 boys, big, loud, and laughing, stood over her, their cruelty echoing through the small-town diner. None of them realized that at a corner booth near the window, a battle-hardened Navy SEAL and his trained military dog were watching their every move. Lily had only been working at the diner for 2 months, trying to support her sick mother. Every shift felt heavier than the last, but she always managed to smile. Everyone knew she was kind, maybe too kind. Which was why bullies like Mason and his friends liked picking on her. That morning had started like any other, with Lily rushing between tables, refilling coffee, wiping down counters, and offering warm greetings to tired travelers. But everything changed when the trio of trouble stomped through the front door. Mason slammed his hand on the table the moment she approached. "Hey, sweetheart," he sneered, leaning back like he owned the place. "How about a smile, or is that too much work for someone like you?" Lily forced one anyway, trying to keep peace. "What can I get you gentlemen today?" The boys exchanged looks, smirking. 3 coffees, extra hot, and hurry up, some of us have lives. The insults stung, but Lily stayed professional. She learned long ago that reacting only made things worse. At the corner booth, Navy SEAL Ethan Cole watched silently while his dog, Shadow, lay at his feet. Ethan had come to the small town to decompress after a difficult deployment. He didn't want attention, didn't want trouble, he just wanted a quiet breakfast. Shadow, a highly trained Belgian Malinois, sensed his partner's tension the moment the bullies walked in. The dog's ears perked, eyes tracking every movement with laser focus. Lily returned with the coffees, placing them down carefully. But Mason wasn't done. "Oops," he said suddenly, knocking his cup off the table. Hot liquid splashed across the floor and onto Lily's arm. She gasped, dropping the tray she was holding. Mason cackled. "Seriously, can't even hold a cup? You're pathetic." Lily tried to blink back tears, but the burn was sharp. She looked around the diner, no one moved. People stared, whispered, but no one stepped in. Except one. Ethan rose slowly, placing a palm on Shadow's back. The room seemed to grow still as he walked toward the boys. His voice was calm but carried the weight of someone who had seen more violence than any of them could imagine. "You're going to apologize," he said. Mason rolled his eyes. "To her? What are you, her daddy?" Ethan stepped closer. "No, just someone who doesn't tolerate cowards." Shadow stood tall beside him, muscles tight, ready. Mason tried to puff out his chest, but there was something about Ethan, something controlled, dangerous, steady, that made even him hesitate. "Look, man, it was a joke," but Ethan wasn't letting it slide. Pouring scalding coffee on a girl who's just doing her job isn't a joke. His eyes locked onto Mason's. "Say you're sorry." Shadow growled low, a sound that made the boys freeze in place. Mason swallowed. "Fine, sorry." Lily shook her head, still holding her burning arm. "It's okay," she muttered, even though it wasn't. Ethan turned to her gently. "You don't have to say that." His voice softened. "You're allowed to be hurt." But the confrontation wasn't over. Mason's friend, Bryce, decided to play tough. "You think you can just walk in and act like a hero?" he snapped. Lily flinched. Ethan didn't blink. "I don't need to act. I just need to stop you before you hurt someone else." Bryce lunged forward, but he didn't make it 2 steps. Shadow sprang in front of Ethan like a bolt of lightning, teeth bared, stance ready to protect. Bryce froze mid-step, eyes widening in terror. "Hey, call off your dog." Ethan didn't move. "He's trained to stop threats," he said calmly. "Don't be a threat." For the first time, the diner employees and customers started murmuring. One older man finally stood. "The girl could have been seriously hurt," he said loudly. "These boys have been causing trouble for months." Emboldened, others spoke up too. "They smashed my mailbox last week. They harassed my niece. They never get punished." The boys shrank under the sudden wave of truth. Lily's arm needed treatment, so Ethan gently escorted her to the back room while the manager called the police. Shadow stayed close, brushing his head against Lily's leg like he could sense her pain. Tears finally slipped down her face, not from the burn, but from months of suppressed frustration, fear, and humiliation. "Thank you," she whispered. Ethan handed her a napkin. "No one deserves to be treated like that," he said quietly. "You didn't deserve any of it." While waiting for the medic, Lily opened up. She told him about working double shifts, about her mother's mounting medical bills, about feeling invisible. Ethan listened, the kind of listening that made someone feel seen. He shared nothing about his own battles, but Lily sensed he carried his own weight too. The police arrived, questioned witnesses, and finally held the bullies accountable. Mason and his friends were taken outside in handcuffs, suddenly not so bold anymore. The entire diner watched through the windows, some shaking their heads, others sighing in relief. Justice, even small justice, felt good. After everything calmed, Ethan prepared to leave. Lily followed him to the door. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. Ethan smiled slightly. "Just take care of yourself." Shadow nudged her hand, and she giggled softly for the first time in weeks. The next morning, something unexpected happened. A small crowd gathered outside the diner. They came with notes, cards, even money, everyone donating to help Lily and her mother. It turned out Ethan's intervention had sparked something in the community. People realized silence makes bullies stronger. And kindness makes the world brighter. Lily saw Ethan later that week. He was walking Shadow near the lake, the sunlight catching the dog's coat. She ran to him, breathless. "The doctor said my arm will heal," she said joyfully. "And we raised enough money for my mom's surgery." Ethan smiled in genuine relief. "That's great news." She hesitated. "You changed everything that day." Ethan shook his head. "No, you were strong long before I showed up. You just forgot for a moment." Shadow barked playfully, and Lily knelt to pet him. For the first time in a long while, she felt safe. The bullies were sent to a youth rehabilitation program, forced to do community work for months. And though they resisted at first, something about facing real consequences made them rethink their choices. One day, Mason even left a letter for Lily apologizing, not forced, but sincere. She kept it, not because she forgave him immediately, but because it reminded her that even the worst people can learn. Ethan left town a few weeks later, but not without leaving an invisible mark. Lily never forgot him or the moment he stepped between her and cruelty. She carried his lesson forward: strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it comes from standing tall when the world tries to push you down. By the end, Lily learned something powerful: one brave act can change an entire community. And one moment of kindness can echo far longer than fear. And somewhere out, on the road, Ethan and Shadow continued traveling, ready to step in again wherever courage was needed.